Last week, in the lead up to an event, I crunched out a massive prop. Sandalphon from the anime Data Live. Greetings everyone, I am Sister Lilia, and welcome to my armory. Let's build a sword. So I started off with the template I'd drafted off screen and marked it onto foam and then marked in a central core line where the cores were going to go. Now the cores weren't quite long enough, so I had to improvise. So yeah, next I marked out on a layer that was going to go over the foam. I filled in some of the gap on the foam with some foam clay. Should have filled in more of it. Marked out the edges of where the blade was going to be angled. Marked out and drafted out and cut out the central details that are raised and funkily shaped. Then I cut out the actual pieces that were going to be going over the foam to form the centre part, working out the details kind of as I went a bit for one side. The camera decides to move around a bit as I'm working on this, unfortunately. You can see the reference image there as I'm working out the details of where some of the parts that are marked in red go on the actual central detail piece, and then cutting them out and continuing to work on them so as to have the pieces be the right shape. Because this sword is an interesting design and there is many interpretations. That was the raised part that I made out of foam clay that goes in later, that you can just see there. Now here I'm coming in, cutting out the central raised detail that goes along a good chunk of the whole sword, cutting it out with a knife and shaping it as I go, sometimes shaping it before I cut it out even. And there is a lot of that. I make a second one off camera, which you can see marked there. And you see me sticking this in. I should have gone in a bit more with the foam clay along the whole central core section. But yeah, the details are coming in. There's parts where I run out of that nice foam core due to how I went about building this thing. So I had to resort to some cheaper foam that doesn't like paint as well, unfortunately. But yeah, making use of a Warhammer book as a paperweight, might as well. They so often end up being becoming irrelevant. Anyway, here I am constructing the handguard and working out building up its shape, because the handguard is a wacky shape. I'm not entirely convinced I'd actually succeeded with the handguard, but oh well, this is the first attempt at this prop and I might well come back and make others later. You see me building up the structure here and working out some of the details that go in, including a round half sphere that's about the same size as the core sphere, which goes on to the which goes to base the hand grip details, well, hand guard almost. See me here building up and layering up various bits of foam along it as I go and adding to the structure of that. I've trimmed out the blade tips. I thought I had that on camera. And see me coming through and wrapping up the hand guard so as to make it a bit smoother. Good thing about the foam I used is it can be shaped with heat. And here we have me showing the other other details as I now work on the hand grip. Now I stuck a wood core in the centre of it. Had a bit of an issue getting it in, but well. Here we are, me building up the pommel detail, making use of a lot of both cut down strips of EVA foam and cut down diagonal strips that I've beveled with a knife. That back pommel grip is heavy, which is good because you want a pommel to be heavy, but at the same time, this isn't a real sword. This is a proper fictional weapon. It doesn't have to actually be evenly balanced. It helps, but yeah. See me coming in here, adding in and building up the details around the handguard to bring it down to a grip section. I continue making use of tape to actually get the foam to stick together long enough for the glue to have set, because hot glue takes a little bit of time. Making use of skewers to stick more of the foam on and lock it in place while the glue cools, and continuing to build it up. So much beveling. went into this. So much beveling. But the result was decent. I mean, part of me feels like I could go over this whole thing with foam clay at some point, but by this point I'd run out of foam clay because of how much I'd used on the actual prop itself. And here we have me finalising the hand grip by wrapping it in tape and then putting in the baubles into the centre part, and we are done. And so it's done. This thing has been a labour of love over the last week, in which I crunched it for a con. Only really get about as far as these on the costume front. Oh well, these things happen. At least it looks good. I wish I could say the same for the vambraces or the armour, but as far as the armour is concerned, all I've got is the tassets at this point. But yeah, anyway, here is Sandalphon. I hope you liked the build and hope you enjoyed the video. So I'll probably come back to this thing and do some improvements on it before I do the actual full costume video on Tohka, but I am hoping to get Tohka together before PAX Oz, so yeah, you can hopefully expect that video in the future. Anyway, let's just put that back to there because I think I like that side better. Now I did have issues with some of the paint when painting it, but that's to be expected. Paint will do that. I just hope I'm not too in frame. I don't need to be for this just yet. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.